you, Jesus. Hey.
Good evening. Welcome to, I think it's day 7 of our Bible reading. So, yesterday we did 3 chapters, chapter 13, 14, and 15. So, today as well, like I said yesterday, I will read 3 chapters, 16, 17, and 18. Alright, so let's get right into it. Chapter 16. Now Sarai, Abram's wife, had borne him no children, but she had an Egyptian maid servant named Hagar. So she said to Abram, the Lord has kept me from having children. Go sleep with my maid servant. Perhaps I can build a family through her. Abram agreed to what Sarai said. So after Abram had been living in Canaan 10 years, Sarai, his wife, took Egyptian maid servant Hagar and gave her to her husband to be his wife. He slept with Hagar and she conceived. When she knew she was pregnant, she began to despise her mistress. Then Sarai said to Abram, "You are responsible for the wrong I am suffering. I put my servant in your arms, and now that she knows she is pregnant, she despises me. May the Lord judge between you and me." So, after Hagar had gotten pregnant, I think maybe, she started, that's just my assumption, maybe she started to feel more favorable, or she may be given the attention, right? So maybe this is what made her despise Sarai, and obviously Sarai would be really upset. "So your servant is in your hands," Abram said. "Do with her whatever you think best." Then Sarai mistreated Hagar, so she fled from her. Obviously, I think out of anger, there must have been jealousy as well, which is why, you know, Sarai mistreated Hagar, which ultimately led Hagar to flee from, where she was at that time. The angel of the Lord found Hagar near a spring in the desert. It was It was the spring that is beside the road to Shur. And he said, "Hagar, servant of Sarai, where have you come from and where are you going?" "I'm running away from my mistress Sarai," she answered. Then the angel of the Lord told her, "Go back to your mistress and submit to her." The angel added, "I will so increase your descendants that they will be too numerous to count." The angel of the Lord also said to her, "You are now with child, and you will have a son. You shall name him Ishmael. For the Lord has heard of your misery. He will be a wild donkey of a man. His hand will be against everyone, and everyone's hand against him, and he will live in hostility toward all his brothers." So here also, God also have something planned for Ishmael and his descendants as well, right? Hagar and her descendants as well, right? Here he's referencing that Ishmael will be like a wild donkey of a man. Maybe he's going to be something, uh, you know, something different. Again, that's just my thought. So she gave this name to the Lord who spoke to her. "You are the God who sees me," for she said, "I have now seen the one who sees me." That is why the well was called Bir Lahairoi. It is still there between Kadesh and Bered. So Hagar bore Abram a son, and Abram gave the name Ishmael to the son she had born. Abram was 86 years old when Hagar bore him Ishmael. Chapter 17, here they're going to talk about circumcision. So when Abram was 99 years old, the Lord appeared to him and said, "I am God Almighty. Walk before me and be blameless. I will confirm my covenant between me and you and will greatly increase your numbers." Abram fell face down, and God said to him, "As for me, this is my covenant with you. You will be the father of many nations. No longer will you be called Abram. Your name will be Abraham." Here, this is where God changes Abram's name to Abraham. "For I have made you a father of many nations. I will make you very fruitful. I will make nations of you, and kings will come from you. I will establish my covenant as an everlasting covenant between me and you and your descendants after you for the generations to come, to be your God and the God of your descendants after you. The whole land of Canaan, where you are now an alien, I will give as an everlasting possession to you and your descendants after you, and I will be their God." When I just think about how God says, He gives, the land of Canaan to Abraham, then, the plains of Jordan, right, being given to Lot. When I think about this, right, as humans, we always want to acquire many plots of land, right? Same thing. I mean, it's common with everyone. You know, they always feel the need to acquire land. Same thing. My parents too acquired land, which will ultimately my siblings and I will obviously inherit them. But we are saying that this is going to be my land, this is going to be my land, but at the end of the day, right, when we die, nothing that we say it's ours, it's actually not ours, right? It's all God's. But we always say that this is my land, or I bought this for this much amount, right? But then I always wonder, like, when we talk about land and properties, I'm like, okay, but it's really pointless in a way, because when we die, we really cannot take back anything with us to heaven, right, or to our graves. So yeah, that's just my thought. So then God said to Abraham, "As for you, you must keep my covenant, you and your descendants after you for the generations to come. This is my covenant with you and your descendants after you. The covenant you are to keep. Every male among you shall be circumcised. You are to undergo circumcision, and it will be the sign of the covenant between me and you." So circumcision is a sign, a sort of a promise between God and Abraham. "For the generations to come, every male among you who is 8 days old must be circumcised, including those born in your household or bought with money from a foreigner, those who are not your offspring. Whether born in your household or bought with your money, they must be circumcised. My covenant in your flesh is to be in everlasting covenant. Any uncircumcised male who has not been circumcised in the flesh will be cut off from his people. He has broken my covenant." 8 days old, from what I know, the reason why uh, a child is to be circumcised at 8 days old, because of the pain threshold, if I'm not mistaken, is because the pain tolerance is pretty high, or something like that. Please correct me if I'm wrong. And also, when it comes to diseases and right, it's 8 days old has something to do with it. Okay, so we will go on. Verse 15. God also said to Abraham, "As for Sarai your wife, you are no longer to call her Sarai. Her name will be Sarah. I will bless her and will surely give you a son by her. I will bless her so that she will be the mother of nations. Kings of peoples will come from her." Abraham fell face down. He laughed and said to himself, "Will a son be born to a man 100 years old?" That's obviously, I mean, it's pretty common to think that, right? "Will Sarah bear a son at the age of 90?" And Abraham said to God, If only Ishmael might live under your blessing. Same thing, human thought. We always plan something, our wants are different from what God's intentions are, right? So it's always according to God's will. Anything we do, always according to God's will. It's our plans just go out the window when it comes to God's will. If it's not God's will, it'll really not be according to our wishes, right? And of course, everything is possible in the eyes of God, or with God, everything is possible, nothing is impossible, right? Then God said, "Yes, but your wife Sarah will bear you a son, and you will call him Isaac. I will establish my covenant with him as an everlasting covenant for his descendants after him. And as for Ishmael, I have heard you. I will surely bless him. I will make him fruitful and will greatly increase his numbers. He will be the father of 12 rulers, and I will make him into a great nation." He really is truly blessing Ishmael as well, uh, already promising him that Ishmael will have 12 sons and will also be also a great nation will come from Ishmael. "But my covenant I will establish with Isaac, whom Sarah will bear to you by this time next year." When he had finished speaking with Abraham, God went up from him. On that very day, Abraham took his son Ishmael and all those born in his household, or brought with his money, every male in his household, and circumcised them, as God told him. Abraham was 99 years old when he was circumcised, and his son Ishmael was 13. Abraham and his son Ishmael were both circumcised on the same day. And every male in Abraham's household, including those born in his household or bought from a foreigner, was circumcised with him. All right, so here we've seen the process of circumcision, the age limit, right? All males are to be circumcised at the age of 8 days old, and also those who have not been circumcised then should be circumcised, and those who have already been who are also bought should be circumcised as well. If they're not circumcised, that means they will be cut off from God's covenant. So all these are the rules laid out by God. It's obviously for the good, right? Nothing for the bad. Now we will go on to chapter 18. Here we will talk about the three visitors. "The Lord appeared to Abraham near the great trees of Mamre while he was sitting at the entrance of his tent in the heat of the day. Abraham looked up and saw 3 men standing nearby. When he saw them, he hurried from the entrance of his tent to meet them and bowed low to the ground. He said, 'If I had found favor in your eyes, my Lord, do not pass your servant by. Let a little water be brought, and then you may all wash your feet and rest under this tree. Let me get you something to eat so you can be refreshed and then go on your way. Now that you have come to your servant.' 'Very well,' they answered, 'do as you say.' So Abraham hurried into the tent to Sarah. 'Quick,' he said, 'get 3 shares of fine flour and knead it and bake some bread.' Then he ran to the herd and selected a choice tender calf and gave it to a servant who hurried to prepare it. He then brought some curds and milk and the calf that had been prepared and set these before them. While they ate, he stood near them under a tree. 'Where is your wife Sarah?' they asked him. 'There in the tent,' he said. Then the Lord said, 'I will surely return to you after this time next year, and Sarah your wife will have a son.' Now Sarah was listening at the entrance to the tent, which was behind him. Abraham and Sarah were already old and well advanced in years, and Sarah was past of the age of childbearing. So Sarah laughed to herself as she thought, 'After I am worn out, and my master is old, will I now have this pleasure? I mean, human thought again, right? That's what we would think. Then the Lord said to Abraham, why did Sarah laugh and say, will I really have a child now that I am old? Is anything too hard for the Lord? I will return to you at the appointed time next year, and Sarah will have a son. Sarah was afraid, so she lied and said, I did not laugh. But he said, yes, you did laugh. Now we will go on to chapter 6, where Abraham pleads for Sodom, right? Because Sodom and Gomorrah have become very sinful. Excuse me. When the men got up to leave, they looked down towards Sodom, and Abraham walked along with them to see them on their way. Then the Lord said, shall I hide from Abraham what I am about to do? Abraham will surely become a great and powerful nation, and all nations on earth will be blessed through him. For I have chosen him, so that he will direct his children and his household after him to keep the way of the Lord by doing what is right and just, so that the Lord will bring about for Abraham what he has promised him. Abraham really has favor in God's eyes, right? Then the Lord said, the outcry against Sodom and Gomorrah is so great and their sin is so grievous that I will go down and see if what they have done is as bad as the outcry that has reached me. If not, I will know. So as I'm reading this, I'm just thinking outcry, fine, right? I just think sometimes, when I'm just sitting alone in my room or just anywhere in my own thought, right? Maybe I'm thinking about something, right? But then God hears everything, whether it's just a thought, whether it's just a talk, a conversation, He hears everything. He doesn't have to be seen physically, but He is everywhere, right? Do you understand what I mean? Like He's omnipresent, right? He's with us right now, even though we do not see Him physically, but He knows, He hears. Verse 22. The men turned away and went towards Sodom, but Abraham remained standing before the Lord. Then Abraham approached him and said, will you sweep away the righteous with the wicked? What if there are 50 righteous people in the city? Will you really sweep it away and not spare the place for the sake of the 50 righteous people in it? How thoughtful of Abraham to really plead for Sodom, right? Let's say if it's the earth, let's say there are 20 more people, I am for sure God will really try to, save the earth because of those 20 righteous people. Far be it from you to do such a thing, to kill the righteous with the wicked, treating the righteous and the wicked alike. Far be it from you, will not the judge of all the earth do right? Yeah. The Lord said, if I find 50 righteous people in the city of Sodom, I will spare the whole place for their sake. Right, so when I'm just thinking back about how I used to be, the life that I used to lead, right, really not pleasant. I always think about it. I still feel guilty, like, I know Jesus has come and died for our sins, but it's human nature for us to really just go back and think about our past, but it is what it is. I really don't, it is a life lesson for me, but then I feel like, God always tries to save the righteous, right? He will not really make us fall into the trap where, we will obviously uh, be tempted forever by the devil, right? He will obviously try ways and find ways for us to be saved and to turn back to Him, right? So I'm reading this and I'm just thinking about all that. The Lord said, if I find 50 righteous people in the city of Sodom, I will spare the whole place for their sake. Then Abraham spoke up again, now that I have been so bold as to speak to the Lord, though I am nothing but dust and ashes, what if the number of the righteous is 5, less than 50? Will you destroy the whole city because of 5 people? If I find 45 there, he said, I will not destroy it. Once again he spoke to him. What if only 40 are found there? It's so sort of sweet for Abraham, right? Maybe he's like, okay, I'm really not sure if they're 50. Maybe if it's like 5 less than 50, like 45. Maybe you're like really trying his best, for God to really help out, the righteous people. So once again he spoke to him. What if only 40 are found there? He said, for the sake of 40, I will not do it. Then he said, may the Lord not be angry, but let me speak. What if only 30 can be found there? He answered, I will not do it if I find 30 there. Abraham said, now that I have been so bold as to speak to the Lord, what if only 20 can be found there? He said, for the sake of 20, I will not destroy it. Then he said, may the Lord not be angry, but let me speak just once more. What if only 10 can be found there? Now he's come down to 10. He answered, for the sake of 10, I will not destroy it. When the Lord had finished speaking with Abraham, he left and Abraham returned home. Really interesting. Like I said yesterday, even though I've already read Genesis a few times, but it really is interesting each and every chapter that I read, and I keep wanting to go more and more. Alright, I hope you all enjoyed the reading session as well, like how I have. Please join me again tomorrow. Also, please like, share, subscribe, and I hope to see you all again tomorrow. And we can read the Bible together again tomorrow. Tomorrow being a Sunday, I will do 3 chapters again, because it's a Sunday, it's a holiday, and we have enough time. So, I will do 3 chapters again, chapter 19, 20, and 21. Alright, so please join me again tomorrow, and I hope you all have a nice day, you all have a good night, and we will meet again tomorrow.
And washed in his blood, and what he did for me on Calvary is more